All right, don't go anywhere. We got a special guest, super rock star agent Jeff Whitespeare down in Houston, does 300 deals this year, and he's going to unpack how he does it right after this. Real estate agents, are you struggling with the day-to-day grind, dialing for dollars, putting in hours of floor time with little to show for it? Are you looking for tips, tricks, and tactics to accelerate your career as an agent that will have you closing more homes, working with more clients, and earning more money than ever before? Hi, my name's Cliff Freeman, and I've spent the past 2 decades of my real estate career running one of the top brokerages in DFW and personally coaching over 1,000 high-performing real estate professionals across North America. I created this podcast to share the strategies and tactics you need to explode your real estate business. I guarantee it. All right. Hello, everybody out there in Facebook land and YouTube land and elsewhere. Boy, we got a super show for you today on Cliff's Notes. Let me start out by welcoming my co-host extraordinaire, C3. How you doing there, brother?
Oh, doing great as always, man.
Yeah?
Excited for Jeff today.
Jeff is man, we spent a little time with Jeff down in PV, Puerto Vallarta.
Yes, sir.
Travis, you been to Puerto Vallarta?
You know what? I've been there in my dreams before, Cliff.
You've been there in your dreams?
I've been there in my dreams.
We're going to get you down there, man. Jeff is a great guy, outstanding agent. We got to spend a few days with him at a leadership event down there, and I'm so excited to have him on board. Jeff's down in Houston. Can we go ahead and bring up Jeff Trellis? How you doing, brother? Welcome, man. Welcome to the show today.
I'm doing well, man. Living the dream as always.
Living the dream as always. Boy, look at the wall.
Look at the gear.
I just noticed your walls back there behind you, man. You got like trophies and beast mode and all that kind of stuff. Is that your trophy wall back there?
That's one of the trophy walls. Yes, I got another trophies in front of me, but I like to have a positive work environment. Walking in here every day, ready to kill it. So
Amen,
I love it,
man. Yeah, that's really cool, man. You just gave me a great idea. Maybe we need to have a dream board. Instead of a dream board, do a dream wall, something like that, right?
I like that, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, Jeff, man, so excited to have you today. You got everything going on down there. Your DNA is real estate. Tell us a little bit about your family background. Weren't you born into this business?
Man, I wish I could tell you that I was born into it, but my upbringing was pretty rough. But my sister, she joined a big company, and she was the team leader of that company for 10 years. So ever since high school, I had dreamed to be an agent. And that is not your typical agent. Most agents, I would assume, kind of fall into the business. I've always wanted to do it. I went to University of Texas at Tyler to get my business in my degree in business management and marketing specifically so I could start in real estate. So I do what's called a family of realtors. That is my sister, my brother-in-law, everybody's in real estate. But for me, I'm pretty much a first-generation Whitespeare realtor for sure.
Is that right? Interesting. So you went to UT Tyler and studied business administration. Now, tell me again, at what point, how old were you when you said, man, real estate's where I got to be? Was this one of those, things, the vision that you had when you were like 5 or 6, or how old were you when this really hit you?
I'd say 16. You get to be the sophomore in high school, and they start asking you what you want to do. And I'm like, well, my sister's killing down in real estate. If she can do it, there's no way I can't do it. So I want to get a degree designed specifically to help me in real estate. So I would say 16 years old, I decided to become a real estate agent. I was licensed by 19.
Wow. So, I mean, you have to be at least 18, right, in Texas to get your real estate license, right?
Yep.
So that's amazing. Well, did you in your wildest dreams at 16 years of age, Jeff, did you ever think you'd be sitting here talking to us with you're on track to do 300 home sales this year? Did you believe that was possible?
Yep. I'm here today exactly because I want to be here today selling 300 homes. So I've always known that I'm going to be successful. I've always talked about it. I've always dreamed about it. I've always prayed about it. I've always told myself about it. So it's nobody's surprise to me that I'm here in this position at all. For me, I've always known I would be here.
Yeah, that's That is really that's amazing. I got to share a quick story. Who was the guy, Trelvis? You remember who the guy was back in was it the '80s that swam for? No, it wasn't that long ago. Swam for 8 gold medals.
Michael Phelps?
Michael Phelps.
Yeah, it wasn't the 80s, but
no, that was Mark Spitz, wasn't it? Yeah.
You were pretty close.
That's
time-wise.
Hold on, that's all right. I got a few credits in my Grace account here for these senior moments.
like
Don't worry about it. But Michael Phelps, right? So Jeff, this is what you remind me of. He was being interviewed right before he swam for his 8th gold medal, and the interviewer asked him, said, "Michael, did you ever in your wildest dreams think that you would be standing here about to do the next, whatever it was, 400 IM, and it was going to be for your 8th gold medal?" And he without hesitation, he looked back at the reporter and said, "Yeah, I kind of knew I'd be here when I was like 6 years old." So
Right.
This is what you just described, Jeff, is that sort of champion's mentality, man, where you know at a very young age you've got that vision and you have just done nothing but pursue that vision for all these years. Why don't you, let's speak to the audience here. We've got a bunch of agents and other folks out there as well, but let's talk a little bit. Can you share some of the mindset things that you've learned? What are some of the ways that you've shaped your head so that you can continue to get in there no matter what adversity you're coming across? I mean, you guys you went through Hurricane Harvey a couple of years ago. I'm sure you've had many. Talk to us a little bit about some of the things that you've had to overcome since you got into the business at 19 years of age.
Yeah, so for sure, mindset is everything. If you want to change your mind, you can change the world. So I've always told myself that I'm going to be successful. I said I prayed about it. I told everybody. I get that question a lot, Jeff. You're only 30 years old. You run our real estate business. Do you think you're going to be there? Yes, I did. And I told everyone to expect me. So mindset is everything. So some of the hurdles for sure still I'm dealing with today is I sell a lot of houses. I deal with very high net worth individuals as far as large hedge funds, large private equity funds. And I'm always the youngest person in the room. So I've learned some scripts and some dialogue to know that while I am 33 and you may be 80, 90 with a couple billion bucks in your pocket, you should listen to me and let me tell you how to invest that money into real estate because I've been successful doing it. So my biggest thing that I've had to overcome every day is really the fact that I got a baby face, but that's not how I treat my business, right? So that's probably my biggest hurdles is still overcoming is being the youngest person in the room and believing that I'm the smartest person in the room. Trying to get people to listen to what I'm saying. I deal a lot with investors.
I got you. So that baby face, that's not an asset for you when you're talking to rich old folks, right? I mean, they look at you and wonder what rock did you just crawl out from underneath, son, right?
Yeah, no, they do it all the time, and I have to explain to people like how many houses have you sold in my neighborhood, or you haven't been doing this some time. My agent that I'm going to meet with next is 30 years of experience, and then I just continue to deal with that. But I tell them the same thing every time. I've sold enough homes to know that I am the best agent for the job. So
right.
I have a proven, repeatable process that's geared to sell your house in the quickest amount of time for the most amount of money. And I'd love to show that to you today. I kind of just overcome that objection without even responding to it, really, and just keep on moving. Right.
So, and we're going to talk about how important scripts are to you and your team members and so forth in a minute. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how important is your confidence when you get in front of these people?
It's a 10, right? It's a 10. People will, if you get up there and you are firm handshake, looking direct in the eyes, whatever you tell them, even if you're on stage one day and you don't know what you're talking about, you sound like you know what you're talking about. If you're direct and loud, people are going to listen to you, even if you're feeding a bunch of crap. That's not my goal, right? But no, confidence, I would say that's a 10 for sure.
Okay, so
you're walking there knowing that you're leaving with the listing of.
Okay, so we've got an audience. In the audience, there are some agents out there who are in their first year, and so they don't have a track record. And in fact, I know you bring in and train new agents onto your team and so forth. What types of things, what tactics do you use to help your agents gain that confidence they need to win those appointments?
Yeah, so I've leveraged out my business. So I have specific roles for each agent. So right now, if one of my agents were to go to an appointment, they're going to use what I call third party validation. They're going to say, we sold this. We have a listing coordinator. We have a transaction coordinator. We have an ISA team. We have an outside ISA team. We've done this. We've done that. So I train all my agents to let them know that when they're hiring them as their agent, whether that's a buyer or seller, they're hiring the entire team and they're getting more bang for their buck. I got people dotting our I's, crossing our T's, and et cetera, et cetera. But if you're a brand new agent and you don't have that stuff, I mean, let's go with fake it till you make it. I had two email addresses when I first started. One was listings at Cityside Houston, and the other was Jeff at Cityside Houston. And I ran both of those emails, but my client didn't know it. So that's one little golden nugget. If you want to walk in and say, I have an entire team, you can make assistant at Cityside Houston, listings at Cityside Houston, run 3 or 4 emails where they know that they think they're being, worked with 3 or 4 different people.
So you did that with emails. What about your phone? Did you ever invest in like a voice over IP system with a voice tree? So like press 1 for listing department, press 2 for this, buyers, press 3 if you already have a transaction in process with us?
Yeah, no. I haven't yet, but there's a specific system that I would use called Umail that does exactly that.
Okay.
So that's the system that I would.
Yeah, so I'm going to use this opportunity as a coaching moment because if you want to look like Exxon in the eyes of your clients, then you need to have a phone system, and they're not expensive because I've got 8x8. There's all kinds of different voice over IP systems, but it also eliminates the need for a person to answer that call, that office call. So you can have a voice tree, and it just makes you sound bigger. Well, Jeff, tell us about your team. You started to talk about it a little bit. You've got transaction coordinators. Give us the breakdown of your organization there.
Yeah, so when I first started, it was just me, right? And then I found my wife. I married her immediately because I knew she was the one, right? So I run a husband and wife team, but right now let's call it husband and wife, or let's call it a CEO. And then we have a lead listing specialist that goes on the appointments. We have a lead buyer's agent specialist that has buyer's agents under him and door openers under him. We call it our showing concierge service we offer to our buyers, and we let them know that the most time-consuming task for a buyer's agent is showing properties. So if you can expect and set expectations with that client that you're a part of a team, you're a part of a Henry Ford factory, right? You have a showing concierge service that's going to be able to show your property, you properties any day of the week, especially weekends. So it's kind of leveraged out my agents to sell more houses, but that's what we have. Is me and my wife are up top, let's call it. We have a listing coordinator on one side, a buyer's coordinator and buyer's agent on one side. That lead buyer's agent have multiple agents under him, and right in the middle, if you want to, what's called an organizational chart, that's where we have our transaction coordinator who just talks and just does contracts, and the listing coordinator kind of takes over the listings the second I walk out the door with the listing appointment. If I get that listing, or when I get that listing, she kind of takes over. So kind of leverages me and leverages all my agents. So on top of that, we have an outside sales team that constantly calls for cell owners and FSBOs and expireds that set those appointments. And also they are following up with our internet leads as well until they're ready to go. So
okay.
That's kind of my called organizational chart.
Oh, that's pretty healthy. That sounds awesome. And so I know that you do and you mentioned earlier you have meetings with hedge funds, and so you're also pretty heavily involved in the wholesale side of the business, or the investment side, and that also is another pillar of leads for your retail side. Can you talk about that a little bit for us?
Yeah, so I go around the country. I go to what they're called pitbull conferences. They're not the artists. Pitbull conferences is where all the big dogs. It's not the singer, great singer, but it's not him. The pitbull conferences that's where all the big players and all the big player names are. Those are the guys that lend money to the hard money lenders. So I go to all those conferences and I'm in front of those people. So I've positioned myself to be attractive towards investors. I speak their language, and because I'm doing that, they're giving me once they buy a property and fix the property up, they're giving me those listings. So I'll handle those listings myself, but my goal is for every listing I get is to make 3 transactions off that one listing. So I have my agents very very familiar with the listing. They handle all the leads. They take on those inquiries. They turn those inquiries into showings, and those showings into contracts for all of my sellers. So most of my sellers are investors. So I've positioned myself to where at first I helped all these investors buy property and sell property, and all the leads that were coming off of those kind of just going into the trash. So I made it, I went to talk to my wife. I said, we have to design a real estate business around these groups of hedge funds. So that's what we've done. So because we have so many investor listings, we turn those listings into, like I said, the goal is every time I get any listing, regardless of the source of the listing, is to get 3 transactions from that one listing. So I designed a team to do that.
All right, so that is huge. That's really important. Let's talk about that for a minute. There's an old saying, we say that listings have babies. And you're saying that your goal is to get 3 transactions off of one listing. So specifically, how do you doing that? Is that through open houses? Is it through unpack this for us in a little more detail, Jeff?
Yeah. One is the referral from that seller. I want another seller, another buyer. 2 is the same property in that same area is probably going to go up for sale every time I sell a property over there. So we do just listed flyers, we just sold flyers, as well as calling them. And then 3, finding a buyer off of that listing to hopefully buy that listing. But if they don't buy that listing, they're searching for another listing. So those are the 3 easiest ways to do it. One is to make sure I get a referral from that seller, and that referral could come in 6 months, maybe a year, but that's going to count as one of my additional contracts or one listing. 2 is most of the time when a property hits the market and sells, I have buyers that miss out on that property. So I educate the other owners in the same area if they've ever thought about selling their property. I have a list of buyers that missed out on your neighbor's property. Have you ever been interested in selling your property? And if you were, where would you move to? Kind of get them curious. And then the third, like I said, is the buyer's agents. Their goal is to turn those inquiries into showings, and those showings into contracts. But if they don't get a contract out of that, at least they'll get a client from one listing.
All right, that's really awesome, man. It's very generous of you to explain how this works. I know you've probably got some of your competitors out here watching this show as well. But I mean, hey, you know what? This is Cliff Notes, right? So we're dropping the value today.
We're unpacking it.
We're unpacking it. So I want to go a little deeper here with you now, Jeff, and I want you to talk about your listings, because you were talking about just sold, just listed, and stuff. Give us a detailed breakdown of how you market your listings.
Yeah, so I am not put a sign in the yard and put it on MLS type of guy at all. I spend quite a bit of money and I bring a lot of value to the sellers. So on top of, putting the property in MLS, we have a system we use, a listing syndication system, that takes that property and puts it on an additional 650 websites. I also make sure that my sales team and my agents that are on the phones are educating the other agents in that same area that have sold a property that are recent. So before my property goes live, I'm building momentum to when that property does hit the market. There's multiple agents already wanting to show it. So I'm doing that on top of that. But I use virtual staging, on every vacant property, which are a lot of mine because they're investor flips. I do virtual staging, and it's a fairly cheap way to market that property, an additional way to market it. But I put those virtual stage photos inside of the house so they can an idea. So when a buyer walks in, they can paint a picture of an idea of how that living room is set up. An empty space is, when you see that when you walk in, it's not as good as a stage space. So I always do virtual staging as well. But to get other listings in that same area, the second that property goes under contract, I'm sending out a just sold flyer to all those neighbors. And I'm letting on that flyer, it specifically says, hey, this property sold, let's say, in 8 days for $300,000. I got a long list of buyers that missed out on that. Only want to live in your subdivision. Have you ever out selling? And if you did, where would you move? Like that's what the listing. That's what the listing postcard says. Then on top of that, they're getting called by my ISA team saying, "Hey, I just got your flyer. Or I'm sure you got my flyer by now. Have you given any thought to it? I'm just trying to see if there's any available inventory in that subdivision. We got some buyers looking to make a move. You ever thought about selling?" So that's a super easy way to get additional listings in any subdivision, really. But I can go on and on about the value I bring to the seller as far as just traditional MLS stuff. But how much time we got?
Well, we got all the time. Well, we don't have a whole lot of time. See-Through, you had a question for Jeff, I think?
Yeah, Jeff. Hey,
Yeah.
man, just kind of explain to us more about the scripts. I know that's kind of the one thing that you've internalized, and you really kind of preach that to your team. That that's one of the biggest, things that you emphasize is the scripts. And can you just kind of explain on that and just kind of tell us about what kind of scripting that you do with your team?
Yeah, no, every single Monday and Thursday we have script practice for buyers on Monday and script practice for sellers on Thursday. So a lot of agents get into business and they say, oh man, I need leads, I need leads, I need leads. That's not the case. You need to know how to talk to those leads and get them. So when you finally get a yes, you know exactly what to do. So I train my agents to say the same thing to the buyer every time they get a buyer incoming call. And I train my listing specialists to say the same thing when they get objections in their listing presentation, or when they're, talking to a listing potential seller over the phone. So if you're not, regardless of your script, if you're saying the same thing over and over to a buyer or seller, your business is going to result in that. It's going to be consistent. If you are kind of winging it with every buyer and every seller call that you get, your business will also reflect that as well. Maybe you'll have some good months, maybe you won't. But if you say the same thing to the seller and the buyer every single time you take an incoming call, or every time you do a buyer or listing presentation, your business will be very consistent. So it's very important.
I definitely I like that. Consistency is key. That's huge.
Yeah. So Jeff, tell us what's life like for a new agent who joins your team? Do you put them through a boot camp? Do they have to get script certified? How does it work for your team?
Yeah, so they're going to go directly to the ISA. So they're going to be calling incoming leads and trying to set appointments for my buyer's agents, and they'll also be on the showing concierge team. So they'll be talking and prospecting with buyers all day, every day, setting appointments for my buyer's agents to do a presentation. Once those buyers are qualified and ready to start shopping for properties, they are the showing concierge. So they will show properties and they'll get commissions. But all my stuff is set up on a, let's call it, look at the notes here. All those positions, everybody's like, oh, you got a lot of overhead, but my commission model is results only commission model. If you don't have results, you're not getting paid. So when they come in, they essentially, to be honest, most of them weed themselves out. It takes a little bit. They have to get three closed buyer listings. Three closed buyer transactions for my agent before they can even talk about becoming one of the buyer's agents. So if someone just wants to start on my team being a buyer's agent, that's not really the process I have set up, because they need to go through a rigorous, 60, 90-day process of just getting their script perfected.
Okay. And so in order to sustain the growth that you've had, you've obviously mastered massive lead generation. Can tell the audience a little bit about, how you generate enough leads to feed your team?
Yeah, so I use a system called KV Core. KV Core is a phenomenal lead generation machine. And I use that system to not only market my sellers' listings, but every single day, all of our agents are posting their listings and other realtors' listings on the KV Core system to drive leads to that. So regardless of any lead source I have, let's call it Zillow, HAR, Trulia, whatever, all those leads are directed into my KV Core site. And KV Core site is pretty much an automated, they'll put your leads on kind of autopilot before you talk to them. So I use KV Core to generate the majority of my leads, and I also use that for my follow-up tools as well. But there are many, many lead sources. Well, in Houston, there's 40,000 agents, but there's many, many lead sources that a lot of agents have and I found out about 10 to 15 that are just referral-only lead sources. So if you're a brand new agent, maybe you don't have the tools and the technology that you need to generate leads, there's so many different lead generation people that go out there and they have systems set up on referral-only lead sources. So we're set up. If there's a lead source out there that's referral-only, I'm set up on that. That also adds to the lead. But we do open houses every single weekend. All my agents, not all my agents, but I try to get most of my inventory to be held open. And when you do an open house, it's not what you do at the open house, it's what you do after it. So I train the agents to take that open house list, that guest list, and generate leads off of that. And they're incentivized to do that. Most of my agents are on a certain split if I give them the lead, but they're on a way better split if they generate the leads themselves. So yes, you're going to get leads from me, but you can make more money if you use the tools and systems that I provide to generate your own leads as well.
Sure, sure,
But I
sure.
use KV Core every day, all day.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I mean, in KB, what's the same? We have the team version of KB Core as well, and it really is amazing. You know, one of the and we can go ahead and mention this. I mean, you made a change of platforms. You migrated from one brokerage over to another here recently, and actually KB Core on the individual level is part of the technology that this brokerage offers. So agents who are looking to get access to the type of technology that you and I use in our businesses every day, actually that's something that EXP provides for agents. So let's talk about that for a minute, because you were with a great brokerage prior to joining EXP, as was I. I was also with that same brokerage and have ultimate respect for everybody over there. But there was a point where you realized that the opportunity for your agents would be better. Let's go back to that time when you were looking at the brokerage where you are now, and what were the decision points? What were the things that you really had to vet and to understand, and what were the opportunities that you saw in making a move? That's a big decision to move brokerages.
It's a huge decision to move brokerages, and I thought about it for 6 months, and now that I finally came over here, the only thing I want to tell people is to do it. I wish I would have done it sooner, but I was at a very large company. I started my own team about 3 years after joining that company. I started doing 75, 100, 150 transactions a year, and then the fees started eating me up. So I got coached early on in my career, and my coach was like, okay, numbers are the language of business. You need to dive into your numbers and let's see where that takes you. So the first thing that I noticed is that I'm spending $50,000, $60,000 just to be associated with a broker, and that I didn't even notice I was doing. I was just blowing and going, making money and selling houses. So I went to the company. I said, hey, I sold 150 homes last year, and based on all the fees and cap and all that kind of stuff, I paid you like $50,000. Is there any way we can renegotiate our system just so I can continue to grow within your organization? And they saying that they told me that that's just not their business model. So I started searching, and I found EXP about 3 years ago. And one of the biggest reasons I moved over is because the AV Core, the technology that it has, I was spending about $3,500 a month in my CRM platform. It's called Boomtown. Boomtown is a phenomenal CRM, but it's very expensive if you're not splitting that with a lender or some other business partners or something like that. It gets pretty expensive. So I found EXP about 3 years ago. I saved $40,000 just right off the bat. Once I joined the company, I moved over to the company because of the KV Core, but what the heck is this Icon program? So another reason I came over is they gave me the opportunity to earn my cap back in full. So that's another reason I came over as well, because our previous brokerage, the more you make, the more they take. But at this company that I found, the more I make, the more I can get a chance to earn that stuff back. So because of the Icon program, the KV Core, and then my third reason for coming over was the absolute leverage this model kind of lets me take advantage of. I can leverage all the training. I can leverage all my paperwork. I can leverage everything off, let's call it, to the cloud, and just save so much money by doing it. But those are the three reasons I came over. One was the KV Core, replacing a $40,000 expense. Two, the opportunity to earn my cap back in full. And three, just the leverage opportunities that it offered me.
Okay,
So
that's awesome. So the NASDAQ traded stock didn't interest you at the time?
So
I just had to say that, right?
Thank you. It was stock was at $1.80, $1.79 when someone approached me about the model, and I was kind of in stock. I had some Kinder Morgan shares just because I had some money sitting in the bank. I'd rather have it sitting in the stock market and see what it does. But no, not at first anyway. Not at first. That wasn't an idea of mine. But like I said, I came over just because I could save $40,000 a year using their lead generation platform. And then once I got into it, I started uncovering the residual income, the stocks, the leverage opportunities. But yeah, when I joined, it was $1.81. That was 3 years ago. I don't know what it is today, $9. So I'm stoked because I have earned. Well, they've given me over 15,000 shares of the company just for doing what I already do every day, and that's sell houses. So that's pretty neat. Just cherry on top, I call it.
Boy, that's an incredible opportunity, Jeff. Just in deference to time, and boy, has this show gone fast?
Yeah,
I mean,
very,
I'm telling
very
you
quick.
what. It's too bad we don't have another hour or so to chat, Jeff. But there's so many great things about you. You're a great human being. You're very generous, very charitable. You got a couple of young kids, a wonderful wife. And we didn't even get a chance to talk about that. And I guess what we'll have to do, I'm going to see you probably in a couple of weeks, October, right?
Yep.
You're going to be out there swinging with us at EXPCon?
I'll be there from the 1st through the 6th, and I'm stoked about it because every single time I come home from an EXPCon, I have so much to work on. I thought I had it figured out until you see someone walk up on stage and do the thing in volume.
Yeah.
They're like, oh crap, now I got some stuff to do.
Yeah. Hey, I don't know if I'll let you know, but I got a mastermind Saturday the 6th over at Top Golf next to MGM. I'll shoot you the information if you don't already have plans.
I will be there. Yeah, I fly out Sunday.
Oh, perfect, man. We're going to hit the Eagles concert Saturday night, too. I don't know if you looked into tickets for that, but that's pretty exciting.
Who are they? And I'm joking.
Hey, how's the swing doing, Jeff?
The swing, man. I still got a double-digit handicap, but I'm working on, getting into the 8-9 handicap. I'm about a 12 right now, but swing is good. I'm excited.
That's
for the weather.
amazing. Selling 300 houses a year and still carries a 12 handicap. That's awesome, man.
That's pretty solid.
Congratulations.
There's not a Friday that goes by from October to May that I'm not golfing on a Friday afternoon. No way.
He puts that in his calendar
You
every
and
day.
Brent Gove, man.
Yeah,
I'll tell you,
every
Friday
week.
is golf day. That's it. Hey,
That's it,
if anybody, if anybody on the call that's in the situation like that you were in, Jeff, maybe they've got a team and they're looking at their expenses as they go into the fourth quarter here. How could somebody get a hold of you if they would you be willing to chat with somebody if they just wanted to go over their numbers with you?
Man, I would love that because now that success is, what you get, right? So now that I feel like I'm successful, but one of the big goals for me is just to give back to anybody, regardless of the brokerage, regardless of whatever. I'm telling my secrets in hopes to collaborate with those agents one day. So they can call me on my cell. They can go to my website, citysidehouston.com. But you can just give them my cell. They can give me a ring. And if I don't answer, it's not that I got my feet up. So I'll need you to call me out. I need you to text me and say, hey, man, you told me to call you. Now I'm calling you. What's up? I told Cliff the same thing. He's like, I called you 2 times. I was like, call me 10 times. Maybe I'll pick up.
What's your number, Jeff?
Yeah, it's 713-858-7686.
All right, give it one more time so they have a chance to write it down.
That's 713-858-7686.
All right, there you hear it. Right there from the man himself, Houston, Texas.
Yeah.
Houston,
number
Texas.
8 realtor. Aren't you the number 8 realtor in the Houston area?
Number 8. We've been lucky enough the past 5 years to be top 10. Those are what these
accolades are in the back.
Yeah.
They are. The Houston Business Journal ranks realtors based on their production and volume, and we've been lucky enough to be the top 10 team the last 5 years, having 40,000+ agents, and super proud of that.
It's incredible.
That's awesome, man,
Yeah.
brother. Well, hey,
Talent.
it's a pleasure to see you again. It's been a few sunrises since Puerto Vallarta, but we'll be down there in February also with Rob and the boys. If you and the wife are going to be there, we'll see you there. And in the meantime, man, I'll keep praying for the Texans. You keep praying for the Cowboys. And
my prayer would be a lot different than yours.
That sounds good, brother. All right, man.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for
Jeff,
being on the show.
Thanks for being on the show, man.
Yeah, loved it. Great to see you again. Yeah, and you
I'll
out in
see
the
you here in a
audience.
few weeks.
You got it,
we'll
brother.
see you in Vegas.
Hey, check out Get Cliff's Notes. We got a .com. We got a Facebook page group set up for you guys. Go join it. We got a bunch of wonderful agents in there, and we can't wait. Next show, man. We're going to be in. Guess where we're going to be? St. John's, right?
Ooh.
In the Eastern
Island
Caribbean.
hopping.
We're going to try to swing a Facebook Live for you out there. In the meantime, good golf, good tennis. Enjoy the weather, and we'll talk to you next time. Take care.